Hello, English learners and practitioners. Let's start a new episode of the podcast Your English Always Better. Today, you'll learn and practice English with couple Jack and Sophia who are planning a trip to Switzerland, this spectacular country. Pay attention to the phrases. So, while learning English, you'll also get to know a bit about Switzerland and its charms. We'll also present words used in the dialogue and their meanings to expand your vocabulary. So get ready, because we're about to begin.
Hey, Sophia. We finally managed to schedule our vacation to Switzerland. I'm super excited. Where do you think we should start our planning?
Hi, Jack. I'm excited too. I think we first need to decide which cities we want to visit. I've heard great things about Zurich and Geneva. What do you think about starting with them?
Great idea. Zurich is the largest city in Switzerland, right? There must be a lot to do there. Do you know how long would be good to stay in each city?
Well, considering we have 15 days, we could spend 3 or 4 days in each main city. Besides Zurich and Geneva, how about including Bern, the capital? I've heard it's a charming city.
Perfect. And we can't forget the Swiss Alps. How about reserving a few days for a mountain town? I've heard great things about Zermatt.
Great suggestion. Zermatt sounds amazing. We can go hiking and even skiing depending on the time of year. Speaking of which month do you think is best to go?
I was thinking of going in the summer, maybe in July or August. The temperatures are more pleasant and the days are longer. What do you think? Or do you prefer to go in the winter to ski?
Summer sounds great. We can enjoy hiking and picnics. Plus, accommodation prices tend to be a bit lower than during the winter high season.
True. Speaking of accommodations, do you prefer staying in hotels, or should we consider renting apartments through Airbnb? I've heard hotels in Switzerland can be quite expensive.
I think we can mix it up a bit. How about staying in hotels in the larger cities and renting a chalet or apartment in Zermatt? That way, we get the full experience.
Great idea! And how about transportation? I read that Switzerland has an incredible railway system. Do you think it's worth buying a train pass?
Definitely. The Swiss Travel Pass seems like a great option. It covers almost all public transportation and even offers free entry to many museums. We'll save a lot with it.
Perfect. Now, let's talk about food. I'm eager to try Swiss fondue. Do you know of other typical dishes we should try?
Besides fondue, there's raclette, which is another dish with melted cheese. I also want to try rosti, which is a kind of Swiss hash brown. And, of course, we can't forget the chocolate.
Wow, my mouth is watering already. Speaking of gastronomy, we need to research some good restaurants. Do you prefer more sophisticated places, or do you want to try local food in cafes and bistros?
I think we can mix it up a bit. How about reserving 1 or 2 fancy restaurants for special occasions and the rest of the time exploring local cafes and bistros?
That way, we can have a more authentic experience. And what about tourist attractions? Which ones do you think we shouldn't miss in Zurich?
In Zurich, we can't miss visiting the Grossmünster, an iconic church. I've also heard great things about the Kunsthaus, the art museum. And how about a boat ride on Lake Zurich?
Sounds great! And in Geneva? I know there's the famous Jet d'eau, but what else can we do there?
Besides the Jet d'eau, we can visit the Palace of Nations, the European headquarters of the UN. The International Red Cross Museum also sounds interesting. And how about a stroll through the historic Carouge district?
I love the suggestions. And in Bern, I remember reading something about bears. Is it true that there are bears in the city?
Yes, Bern has a bear park, the Bärengraben. We also can't miss the Zicklog, the medieval clock tower, and the Einstein Museum, since Einstein lived in Bern for a while.
Fascinating. And what about Zermatt? Besides the Matterhorn, what else can we do there?
We can take the Gornergrat, a train that goes up the mountain and offers incredible views. There's also the Matterhorn Glacier Paradise, a complex with viewpoints and snow activities. And how about a walk around the Alpine lakes?
All of this sounds amazing. I'm thinking we should reserve a day for a panoramic train ride. I've heard about the Glacier Express. How about it?
The Glacier Express is a great idea. It's considered the slowest express train in the world, but the scenery is breathtaking. We can take the route from Zermatt to St. Moritz.
Perfect. Now, about nightlife? I know Switzerland isn't famous for parties, but there must be some cool bars, right?
Yes, especially in Zurich. The Niederdorf district has several bars and pubs. In Geneva, I've heard good things about the Quartier de Paquis for nightlife. But don't expect crazy parties. The vibe is more relaxed.
Got it. I think it fits the style of the trip. Speaking of which, we need to prepare for the cost of living, right? I've heard Switzerland is quite expensive.
Yes, that's true. We need to make a detailed budget. Meals in restaurants can cost around 25 to 30 Swiss francs per person. And hotels in big cities can easily exceed 200 francs per night.
Wow, it really is expensive. I think we'll need to save on some things. How about having picnics sometimes? I've heard supermarkets have good and cheaper options.
Great idea. We can buy local cheeses, bread, and fruits for picnics in parks or during hikes. This will give us a more authentic experience and also save money.
Perfect. Now, about the local culture. Is there anything we should know to avoid seeming like rude tourists?
Good question. I read that the Swiss are very punctual, so it's important to be on time for appointments. It's also common to greet people when entering shops or elevators.
Interesting. And what about the language? Switzerland has several official languages, right? How are we going to communicate?
Yes, there are 4 official languages: German, French, Italian, and Romance. But don't worry, English is widely spoken, especially in tourist areas. Still, I think it's nice to learn some basic phrases in German and French.
Good idea. I'll start practicing Bruisi and Bonjour right away. And what about souvenirs? What do you think we should bring back as mementos?
Besides the obvious chocolate, we could bring back a Swiss watch. I also like the idea of buying a Swiss Army knife. And how about some cow miniatures? They're quite typical.
And what about plug adapters? Do we need to buy any?
Yes, the power outlets in Switzerland are different. They use the Type J plug, which is somewhat uncommon. It's better to buy adapters before traveling so we don't have problems there.
I'm thinking we should reserve a day for shopping. I've heard Bahnhofstrasse in Zurich is famous for its luxury stores.
We can take a look, but the shops are quite expensive. How about exploring more local markets? The Wochenmarkt in Bern, for example, is a weekly market with local products.
Good idea. That way, we can buy more authentic and probably cheaper souvenirs. Speaking of saving, do you think it's worth exchanging money here or using a credit card there?
I think it's best to carry some cash in Swiss francs and use credit cards for most purchases. But be careful with the card's conversion fees.
Makes sense. Oh, and what about safety? Switzerland is a safe country, isn't it?
Yes, Switzerland is considered one of the safest countries in the world. But as anywhere, we should take basic precautions, like watching our belongings in tourist areas.
Understood. I'm excited about this trip. Oh, almost forgot. We need to think about what clothes to bring. What's the weather like in the summer?
In summer, temperatures range from 18 to 28 degrees Celsius in the cities. But in the mountains, it can be much colder. It's good to bring light clothes, but also some warmer pieces for the Alps.
I think we already have a good initial plan. How about we start making reservations?
I think we should start with flights and then accommodations. Then we can buy the Swiss travel pass and make reservations for the Glacier Express. What do you think?
Perfect! I'm super excited about this trip. I'm sure it will be amazing.
Me too. I can't wait to try all that Swiss chocolate and see the alpine scenery. It's going to be an unforgettable trip.
Wow, did you notice how many fantastic places there are to visit in Switzerland? I'm going to plan my trip there too. To expand vocabulary, let's now highlight 3 words used in the dialogue to broaden your vocabulary. Here we go. First word. Souvenir. Meaning: small object or gift bought as a memento of a trip or special event. Dialogue phrase. So we can buy more authentic and probably cheaper souvenirs. Second word. Picnic. Meaning: light meal eaten outdoors, usually in a park or field, during an outing or excursion. Dialogue phrase. We can buy local cheeses, breads, and fruits to have picnics in parks or during hikes. Third word. Medieval. Meaning: relating to the Middle Ages, historical period extending approximately from the 5th to the 15th century. Dialogue phrase. We also can't miss the Zitlog, the medieval clock tower. That's it, dear English learners. If this content was useful to you, take the opportunity to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and write in the comments about what kind of topics you want us to make videos about to help you learn English. Wait until the end of the video to see suggestions for other podcasts that will help you improve your English level. Thank you for being here. See you in the next videos.